This is a question I have for you because I think that Clippers team in some respects, I was looking the other day, there was one year where we had 3 All-NBA guys. We were probably a super team. Like DeAndre, max contract, and All-NBA, Blake, max contract, All-NBA, CP, max contract, All-NBA. And I think the dynamic on super teams is really difficult. And you've done it now twice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you just about the inherent challenges that exist on playing on a super team. Not just the ego, because the ego is one thing, but roster building, figuring out who's going to have the highest usage rate. I mean, shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had Golden State. You want to count Klay, like 3 guys that can create their own shots. When you got 3 guys that can do that, then you can pretty much pair them with anyone. On your team, you had 2 guys that had to be force-fed baskets. So the other guys might be thrown off a rhythm sometime trying to get lobs or throw post-ups. Whereas we can create nothing out of something pretty quickly, So that played a factor into it. And when it comes to egos, we all were on the same page and just really wanting to win. I know it sounds simple, but like that's really what it was. Like every day is about, all right, how can we win this basketball game? Nothing else mattered. And when I got to Golden State, from the first to the last guy thought that, but like from the owner to like the ball boy, they thought about that shit too. You know what I'm saying? It's just like in June, like everything was like in June, like at the parade, like it was just always, we was always talking about that, so that shit matters too. Just that dialogue around the team, just that thought process of everybody. How you approaching every day has to be championship level mentality from the first to the last guy. Owner to the ball boy, everybody got me thinking about it, and it was like that.
And could you tell that from the jump?
Yeah. When you lose like that in the finals, everybody came back hungry. Everybody wanted to just redeem themselves. It was just it's a rare feeling to have in the league.
Like the initial meeting, you sense it there.
Oh yeah.
When they're there, right? So that alone is like
we knew how
business.
We knew we knew how big that summer was with losing the league, losing in the finals, and then me signing there. There was just so much noise around our team to start that season. We really locked in as a group.
Now these super teams, they do seem to flame out, like kind of infamously. Almost everyone we could think of, we can name, even your guys' teams. Do you think that tension and that pressure of just you have to win a title or you fail? You think it's that? You think it's combination?
I think more so the business gets in the way more so than anything.
Yeah.
We want to stay together as long as possible.
Yeah.
But one guy might get paid for it. Yeah. One guy, Sean Livingston retired, or I left in free agency, so stuff like that happens more so than.
I think you're right though. I think there is a cycle to it. And when you have, as I mentioned, when you have guys, the talent to win a championship, you have an obligation to go for it. And by going for it, you're sacrificing some future. Mm-hmm. You're trading your first round pick at the deadline nearly every fucking year to go get something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We did that every year with the Clippers.
Yeah.
We did that every year. And, like I said this a bunch prior to the trade for James. I said, Philly to me is dumb to not do something with Ben because you have a window in the East. You have an MVP candidate in Joe. He's got an injury history. Like, you have an obligation to go for it this year. Now, I didn't know they were going to get James, obviously, but like, get 2 high-level players.
Yeah.
Get a pick back, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But like, you got to go for it. If you got the talent and that guy's healthy, you got to go for it.
Do you guys feel like that's the best approach? I talk to people about like LeBron. He kind of moves in cycles. It's been 4 years. This is year 4 now. And each of the last iterations, it kind of went like this. It's kind of flamed out. But you do kind of owe it to the team, like the Rams, right? Fuck them picks.
Yeah.
Like, we need now.
I feel like when you have a player that's reached elite status in this game where he can just control the game, that's when you should go for it.
You go for broke.
When you got the top 5 player in the league, it's like, all right, I know I have something to lean on at the end of games. Like, let's build around this. I mean, if you got, you see potential in that, then you don't want to, waste all your assets early on on trying to compete for a championship when your best player is still developing. Once he gets to that elite status, then that's when you should go for it.
This is also to me a very complicated issue that you can't necessarily point to one thing, because whether it's player movement, teams not being loyal, everybody's so hungry for a championship. Mm-hmm. The discourse around what is a successful season and an unsuccessful season for nearly every team now is about a championship, or are we bottoming out to build for a championship? Mm-hmm. And so the life cycle of teams is inherently going to be shorter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other part, I'll say this too, is, historically, like, we haven't seen a guy like LeBron play at this level,
and move around.
Yeah, and move around, but also play at this level for this long.
Yeah.
So of course there's going to be a life cycle to every team he's on, and he's not going to be in one place. There's no John Stockton, Karl Malone duo that exists anymore. Mm-hmm. There's no loyalty in this thing. Like, I read something today when I was doing my notes, and it's like Dre talking about, Kevin, go do what's happy. Andre Iguodala. Yeah, Kevin, go do what's happy. Do what's for you. And like, that is the mindset of players now, because we recognize what the fuck teams are going to do to us.
Yes.
There's no loyalty.
Yes.
There's a real turning point. I mean, everybody points back to LeBron's decision, but I think even back to what the Celtics did, and KG kind of had to go through that and say, you know what, I got to just go for me. And there's other times in history, obviously, but there's definitely been a change of the guard in that sense. And it is kind of crazy. I was curious about how players feel, and I think it does seem like a lot of you guys sit back and go, hey, you got to do what's best for you. I mean, you got on the podium with Kyrie, did the same with the trade with James, and said the same thing. Hey, he has to go be happy, and we're cool with that. And I think it's not lip service. It's genuine.
I mean, you got to put yourself in the best situation you feel can maximize what you're doing, And I think everybody understands that now.
Do you ever have younger guys hit you up asking for advice, trying to figure this out, because you've now been in this situation a lot?
Yeah, for sure. More so about navigating through, just life as a pro, but knowing that they got that decision that's coming up, what they should be looking for as it's coming up. What was I looking for around that time? Being with an organization, I was with an expansion team basically. So I helped build the foundation of that. So for me to leave that, that was interesting to a lot of young players. Since they, drafted by organization, expect to stay there. So yeah, they hit me up asking about what my thought process was throughout that situation and how I approach games, stuff like that. So it's good to have, and I think that's better in our league now, that we got this open dialogue amongst each other, and we bounce ideas off of each other as pros, and I'm sure that helps.